Today I want to tell you the best tips that I've learned in premarital counseling and why it could save your marriage. If you want to go straight to the tips, just skip to halfway through or into the videos and you'll get that. But first I really want to share a story with you to hit this home. Because I remember when I was sitting in my room with dim light and about to sign my divorce papers, and I really thought to myself what had gone wrong. And I recall one of my friends who suggested that we should have gone to premarital counseling. But I said, no, who needs that? We're in love, we are fine. And we met about 12 years ago. And the first year had been a bliss. She lived in a little shared flat on top of a religious center, so I had to sneak in and out every time I came by. It was like being a teenager again, really, sneaking through the window to my girlfriend's bedroom. There was no lack of passion, and we would often not leave the room for our entire weekend. And as we all know, if there's passion and chemistry, then it means it's right. Or at least that's what Hollywood movies told us. And I remember that exciting feeling as I ran down Kensington High Street in London every Friday after work to see her. I was so excited. I would stop to have a chat with Barry, who was a homeless guy, and I would sometimes go buy him a bit of food and some water in the supermarket. I was getting ready to launch my business, and together we would build a family. Life was looking good, but it never is that easy, is it? I remember growing up seeing split families and people hating to go to work, and I did not want to end up that way. The first setback came when it was her 30th birthday, and I wanted to make it really special for her. I planned it and took so much time. Her friends came from all around the globe to celebrate her, and I had it all organized, or so I thought. It all went wrong, so wrong, and I remember walking into her flat and with all her friends waiting for this big surprise that I've organized, I walked up the stairs to the room where everyone was waiting. I got her outside and told her, and she started to cry. I wanted the earth to just swallow me up right there and then. But that only happens in the movies, right? I think they call it the walk of the dead. We had some really good times, but also much worse were to come. The business was finally booming, and we decided to have our first child. Happy days. The day he was born was a long and dark day that seemed to never really end. If you've ever seen Groundhog Day, then you know what I'm talking about. It happened again and again and again. The surgeon just sat down with us and told us that our son would only live for about a week. He'd lost all his bowel, and no child had ever survived that before anywhere in the world. I just felt her head on my shoulder. I could feel and hear her crying, and I did not really hear much. I just kind of zoned out. And that was the beginning of 12 months in intensive care. It felt like a war zone, knowing that 20% of the kids would not make it out of there alive. I saw the most unimaginable things that I will not share to spare you the trauma, but there was blood and tears, and we sang Amazing Grace for a beautiful little child called Grace that did not make it out of there. Every day, I pushed the doctors to allow my son just a little more time off his machine so we could one day go home and have a better life. They said I was unrealistic. I said, let's try. Slowly, he could be without that machine feeding him most of the day, and we went home. But it was a long battle that was ahead of us, much more than I anticipated. In and out of hospital, surgery after surgery. We tried to create certainty in an uncertain world. We tried to control the uncontrollable. At some point, we have to surrender and trust. For me, that trust was in myself and in my son. I fought the healthcare system to give us a treatment that he needed, and after more than 2 years of fighting, I won. I raised money and put together a research team to try and innovate medical science to help him, and one day we might be able to give him that organ. And in the process though, I lost my business and I lost my wife. I wish I'd taken my friend's advice and had that premarital counseling, because I realize now that prevention is much better to trying to fix what's broken. Put your vase in a safe place rather than let it fall on the floor and break into 100 pieces and try and glue it back together, because even if you can't glue it back together, it will never fully be like before. And at that breaking point, I was really up night and day to take care of my son and support our family. The last sense of joy had been squeezed out of me like a dry lemon that's been left all day in the sunshine. I was getting sick. I went to the hospital twice for suspected heart attack, but they couldn't find anything, and I realized I had to get out and leave. But I really felt like a failure. My business was gone, my family was split, and my marriage was over. As one dream dies, another one obviously often starts. When we can see that, the collapse of my business and marriage taught me something really unexpected. It taught me how to finally love. At first, Mother Nature gave us this helping hand with a chemical cocktail that's called obsession and addiction with our partner. We can't stop thinking about them, we only see the good in them. It's doing the job of making us invest long enough so we can have kids biologically. But after 6 months to 2 years, that honeymoon stage is over and we are basically left on our own. It now takes skills and dedication to keep that love and affection alive. You found a beautiful piece of land, but you will not get your castle unless you both have the skill and dedication to actually build it, right? I wish I'd known what I teach people now in premarital counseling when I was back there. The glue to lasting and mature love is sharing common goals that you want to accomplish together. It's knowing each other's attachment language and how to create safety. It's knowing each other's love language so you know how to make your partner feel loved and also feel valued, and make sure that love bucket never gets empty. You'll need that goodwill when times get tough, and they always do at some point. It's being willing and able to listen to our partner and acknowledge their perspective, even if we disagree. It's being able to calm ourselves and our partner to navigate our way out of conflict and find win-win solutions. It's knowing how to express our needs and boundaries lovingly so we can be heard and so we avoid resentment. It's knowing how to create a lasting, profound and mature intimacy and love. It takes skills. And you can learn a lot more about these if you go to the website and sign up for the 1-hour free webinar. I'll talk all about how to implement this. If you enjoyed this video, share it and subscribe. And as I said, go check out that webinar so you can really get the skill set that's needed for long-term flourishing relationships. Take care, and I'll see you soon.